Hi everyone and welcome to Extinct Bricks. Today's video will be on the Lego compatible custom Dodo. I'd like to say thank you to YouTube Audio Library for the awesome background. So a few weeks back, I posted a poll on 5 creatures and you voted for the Dodo. So here it is guys, enjoy! So the Raphus cucullatus, or the more commonly known as the Dodo, is a well-loved extinct bird. Actually one of the more common extinct birds that any kid would know, and that is probably why it was actually voted as the number one that I should be doing as a custom. So here it is. I will be discussing why I have two colors, but now let's take a look closer. So it is very noticeable that I have two variants, one blue and the other is brownish. So let's take a look at the blue one. So I chose the color blue since it is actually, let's say, more of the well-known pop culture colors for a Dodo. And I think the bluish gray color complements the bird well. And in my artistic point of view, I will be calling this the male Dodo. And so I wanted it, to have the overall look of the Dodo with the wings and the top of hair on the back, using the baby raptor as the base figure. Here. So here's the female Dodo. Taking a look closer, it will have the same sculpt as the male Dodo with the top of hairs on the back and the wings, as well as the typical beak. Except that the colors are very different now. It also has that gap on the legs. Now you're gonna probably ask me, does the gap on the legs prevent it from standing on the base plate? Well, here it is. It still attaches to the base plate. So here is the other one. Perfect. And that's about it for the closer look. Now it's time for us to see Extinct Bricks in action. I'll be showing you some clippings of how I did this particular figure. Alright, so I started by marking on the base figure where to cut, and then I placed on the neck piece and reattached the head. Then I saw in gap between the legs and added the details by sculpt. Then I base coated it with the acrylic primer in light gray, and after which I dry it off for about 2 to 3 hours. After all is dry, I started out with painting the primary colors. And then I paint in the secondary colors, this time for the legs and the beak. I repeated the same process with the female Dodo. And after the secondary colors have been painted, I let it dry for a few more hours as well. Now it's time for me to paint the details. I use a very fine brush to paint on this clear of the eyes. I do this very carefully so that I don't mess up with the initial paints. And when I'm satisfied with the size of this sclera, I do the same for the other side of the face. Now it's time to draw the even finer details. Using this very fine point permanent marker in black, I carefully draw the pupils of the eyes. I really take my time on this process because once I have drawn on the figure, it sticks there and it's hard to erase unless you want to repaint the area where you have made the mistake. And that's the finished figure. Now it's time for some last looks before we end the video. So why was the dodo bird so popular? Well, the dodo appears frequently in works of popular fiction, and even before its extinction, it was featured in European literature as a symbol of exotic lands and of gluttony due to its apparent fatness. In 1865, the same year that George Clark started to publish reports about excavated dodo fossils, the newly vindicated bird was featured as a character in Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. And there it began. The book's popularity made the dodo a well-known icon of extinction. The dodo has been actually used to promote the protection of endangered species by environmental organizations such as the Durrell Wildlife Conservation Trust and the Durrell Wildlife Park. Scientists even use the name dodo to describe chromosome characteristics. That's cool. Well, that's all we have for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Evie is helping out with the conservation of the dodo, and luckily we have 3 eggs. Yay! Soon we'll have a flock of dodos running around the park. And that's a goodbye for now. And as always, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification button. Maraming salamat. And as I always say, let your inner dino brick roar.